I'm Marin, and this is Post-its and Pens. Hello and welcome to or welcome back to my channel. My name is Marin, and here you will find a little beauty, a little books, and a little teaching content. So if that sounds like something you might enjoy, I would love for you to subscribe and stick around and join me in my little corner of YouTube. In today's video, I am going to take you through the questions that are part of the Mid-Year Freakout Book Tag to let you know what my reading progress has been, what my thoughts have been on what I've read, and all of that kind of good stuff. So let's go ahead and get into the video. I will put the questions down below just in case you are unaware of what they are and would like to do this tag yourself. So consider yourself tagged if you are interested, but here are my responses to the Mid-Year Book Freakout Tag. So question number 1 says, best book you've read so far in 2021. So this would be Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe, cover here. Number 2, the best sequel you've read so far. That would be Mr. Impossible. I really enjoyed that one. Not quite as much as the first book, but in terms of all of the sequels that I've read this year, it's definitely my favorite. Okay, question 3 wants to know which new release you haven't read yet, but are most looking forward to. So I had to actually go back and look at my Goodreads to see what even released this year, because that is not something that I have been paying a whole ton of attention to. But the one that I settled on is The Gilded Ones. I think that it sounds the most interesting and has a pretty good rating so far, so I'm curious to see what I think of it. Question 4 wants to know what is your most anticipated release for the second half of the year, and that would be the sequel to Aristotle and Dante. So that one was, as I mentioned, my favorite book that I've read so far, and the sequel is called Aristotle and Dante Dive into the Waters of the World. So that one comes out sometime in the fall, I believe, and I already have it on hold at my library, so I'm very much looking forward to giving it a read. Number 5 wants to know your biggest disappointment. So I have 2 books that I gave 2 stars to this year, and I have 1 DNF this year. I would say the biggest disappointment was Fates by Lainey Bross. It just had a really nice premise. I was very curious to see how they were going to incorporate the mythology into the story, and all in all, it was just kind of meh, and I would not recommend it. Number 6 is biggest surprise. This one's easy. This one was The Selection by Kiera Cass. I fully went into that thinking that I wouldn't like it, and I actually found it to be quite entertaining and fun, and I'm looking forward to reading the rest of the series. So, who knew? Number 7 wants to know your favorite author. This can be a debut author or an author that was new to you, and for me, the answer is Elizabeth Acevedo. I read With the Fire on High last week and really loved it, so I'm very much looking forward to reading the rest of her books. Number 8 says newest fictional crush. I can't answer this one. I don't really have one. I liked a lot of the characters in the books that I read, and I thought that some of the guys were kind of swoon-worthy, but not someone that I personally would have a crush on. I think I've kind of outgrown this question. I don't really know, but I would say this one is not applicable, so I'm not going to pick a person that I would have a fictional crush on. Question number 9 is newest favorite character, and while favorite is perhaps stretching it just a bit, I would say Declan Lynch from the Call Down the Hawk series. I really did not expect to like him as much as I've wound up liking him in this series so far. So Declan Lynch, although not a favorite, just one that I enjoyed getting to know a little bit more. Number 10 wants to know a book that made you cry. Aristotle and Dante definitely had me tearing up a little bit. So did With the Fire on High. And so did Call Down the Hawk. So those 3 I would say made me teary. I didn't like full on cry, but they definitely made me feel some strong emotions. Number 11 is a book that made you happy. I would say Meant to Be by Lauren Morrill made me feel kind of happy at the end, although the character was a bit frustrating throughout the majority of the book. It did have a nice feel-good ending, so that one made me happy. And also With a Fire on High had a nice feel-good ending. So I would say those two books probably made me feel the happiest. Number 12 wants to know the most beautiful book you've bought so far this year or received. I can't answer this. I'm not buying books this year, and I haven't received any books this year, so I don't have one. I am getting all of my books this year from the library or reading books that I already have on my shelf. So can't answer this one because I don't have one. Question number 13, which is the last question, says, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? I would say any of the rest of the books that are on my 21 books to read in 2021, which I will link up in the cards if you would like to check that out. I have only read 3 of the 21, so I need to get going on that. I'm really going to focus on that for the remainder of the year in terms of putting my TBR together and things like that, because I definitely want to read those books by the end of the year. And that is the end of my mid-year freakout tag. So if you liked this video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you would like to see more from me, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, everyone.